We're looking at a piece in Das Torah about Tir'ena Hamialdos Es Elokim. So the piece that we're going to be dealing with is the concept of the fact that the Mialdos, the midwives, had fear of Hashem, and they did not go ahead and kill the Egyptian babies. Okay, so the pasuk says, so they feared God and they didn't do they didn't do what the king of Egypt told them. What did he tell them? Go kill all the babies. That's basically what he told them. So the obvious question he presents, Lama leila Torah l'saprin yirasam es Elokim. You need to tell me that they feared God? Like, if someone told you, go ahead and kill all these babies, and you didn't do it, not because of fear of God, because you felt like it was morally wrong, why, that's why you did it. So he says, why does the Torah need to tell me that the reason why they didn't do it, they didn't kill the babies, was because they feared God? Is it enough what they did? They didn't do it, that's it. Why do you need to tell me that they feared God, and therefore they didn't do what he told them to do? If you want to say, if you want to say that the whole word Vatir'ena, that they feared God, Hakavana Lomar, Ulasaper, that the intent is to teach us, the reason for what they did, the reason why they didn't go and kill these babies, these Jewish babies, is because because they had such fear of God. If that's the reason that why they didn't do it, the Torah would never tell us that when someone does something, they did it because they're a tzaddik. They don't say, and the person did so-and-so because he was a tzaddik. We know, it says, no, he's tzaddik, but otherwise it doesn't say that anytime someone did something special, they said because the person was a tzaddik, that's why Avram did tzedakah. Because Yitzchak was a tzaddik, that's why he went up to Akedas Yitzchak. It doesn't say that. So now you're telling me that they feared God, and that's why they didn't kill me. You're telling me because they did it because they feared God. Why are you telling me the reason behind it? Doesn't really make sense.
Maybe because they didn't have to, but they went the extra mile.
That's what I'm asking. What's the extra mile here? They didn't go and abort babies, Jewish babies.
Okay.
What's the extra mile?
They could have had the death penalty.
Oh, yeah, there's something extra.
They were sacrificing their own lives.
Okay, good. So that's
You
one
don't
good
have to
point.
do that. You
So
don't
that's
have
one
to
good point. Why not? Why not?
Save someone else.
You
Zero
do.
comes first.
Oh.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
well,
good. You got that.
Persecuting you.
Good, you got that. It's irrelevant in persecution over here. If someone tells you they're not persecuting you, we have the 3 cardinal sins, right? Murder is one of them. So it's not even a time of non-persecution. Murder is one of them. You can't do it, right?
No,
So
but if we find you killing it.
if you don't kill the kids, we're going to kill you. So you allow yourself to be killed, right? So now, Jasmine, your question.
So there was something that they went above and beyond, like they nursed them or something, like they did nice or something.
Yeah, all right. So they cooed, right? They cooed, they wooed, whatever they did, right? That's fine. Okay. But over here, the pasuk says that they feared God and they did not do what they were told, what they were supposed to, what He asked them to do.
Okay.
Such an amazing thing, right? I mean, it is nice, obviously.
I remember in second grade, you learn it as Pharaoh was a big ruler, but they didn't listen to him. They believed in Hashem instead.
Right. But why is that? Why is that so geschmack over here? What do we get?
I always thought just
In second grade, it was a big
saving
deal,
was so big, but I guess that makes sense though.
Why saving them was so big? Because killing them would be bad.
Because without them, there would be no Jewish nation.
No, I wasn't thinking that you should rather be killed than.
Oh, you weren't thinking about Yeharg Val Yavor.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, so let's say we're thinking about Yeharg Val Yavor, number 1. But again, even if you're saying that his question is, even if you're saying that they did it because of the fact that they feared Hashem, why would the Torah tell me a story of they feared Hashem? So Elakach Perusha Shalenim, this is what it means. She'ein Vatir'ena kan milas haTorah v'ashevach alein. It's not about praising them. It wasn't saying like the way you said in second grade. But they feared Hashem, and that's why they didn't kill the babies. He's saying that's not what it means over here. It doesn't mean a form of praise to them. That they were fearing God. That wasn't it. Okay, like Shana wants to say over here, this was a terrible nisayon, a very difficult test that they had, that they would not be able to withstand. Why? It was for this reason the yira that they had for Hashem began to grow. They began to contemplate what it really means to have fear of Hashem and to tremble from Hashem. Lachshov schar avera, to think about the reward meaning the benefits one gets from the sin that they would do. They're thinking about their lives right now. Imagine Pharaoh comes over to you, God forbid, and says, I want you to go ahead and kill these babies. So you're thinking, kill these babies? And you're like, you know what? If I do it, my grandkids will be able to go to yeshiva. I'll be able to do many more mitzvos. I'll be devoted to Hashem my whole life. I'll have a full, fulfilling life, focus on Torah mitzvos. So that's the schar of the Aveira. The schar of the Aveira of what you're going to actually see in your life. What's the rest of your life going to be like? Because you listen to Pharaoh. Right? It's pretty crazy. You think about that for a second? Right? I remember Nissen Kaplan presented a graphic story. He said, I want to give you a scenario. What's the scenario? There are two people. And a guy comes over to both of them, sticks a gun to their head, and he says, I want you to do this sin, one of these three cardinal sins, or I'll kill you. So one guy says, I'm not doing it. I'll never do it. He says, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to cut your legs off. I'm not doing it. And then your arms. And one by one. But he goes through it a little bit more gruesome. Toe by toe. Finger by finger. Right? And the other guy says, like, I don't know. I'm doing it. And he goes and does it. Whatever the thing is. Right? So
And
now.
it kills him anyway.
It doesn't. Right? It doesn't.
World War II.
It doesn't, right? It doesn't do it. What happens over here?
Sure.
Now you have two guys. One guy is sitting in his bed. He has no arms, no legs. Okay? And he's in wretched pain the rest of his life. The other guy is, saved, builds a business, building yeshivas here and there, saving babies, builds hospitals, doing amazing things. He's learning shirim, he's giving Torah. So now who has greater schar?
Wait.
The disabled person.
Right? Here's a guy living in terrible pain, can get nothing done in his life. He's crying, he's dying in pain, maybe he's angry at God. Here's a guy who's making millions, who's opening yeshivas, saving lives, doing all these amazing things, is in the public fanfare. You have a guy who's quadriplegic, doing nothing in bed all day. Who has greater schar? For one act.
That's such a crazy story.
For one act.
Literally story.
Who has greater
So
schar?
much so, but it's just like
Who's got greater schar?
I have to wrap my brain around that.
Unharmed and one
Well, you
guy
can't do
is
Navira
obeyed
to do a
the
mitzvah.
command of killing someone.
Okay, so the
But
question
he
is,
didn't do the Avera to do the mitzvah. He did the Avera because he cracked under the pressure.
he couldn't
But now
handle it.
he's doing other mitzvahs.
Because the guy who had twins was able to give tzedakah.
Who's got greater schar?
So the answer is correct, right?
The first guy.
Yeah.
Like, the reward that he'll get in Shemayim is a billion times greater than all the other things. Even though this other guy has created generations of mitzvos and things like that, one act, one moment of this guy's life, the schar is going to be greater than anything else this other guy does. Otherwise, it'll be higher.
He gave up.
Again, he gave up in the biggest realm of a Kiddush Hashem to do all these things. Right? He could have had a life like this
The
guy.
end doesn't justify the means.
Yeah, but meaning one act of his life changed his entire life. And now this other guy is doing all these amazing things, but there was one part of his life that he couldn't hold on
Well,
to.
here's the question: are those amazing things still amazing? Because
They're still amazing.
The guy literally told him, "I'm going to kill you." So you
Saying,
can't
think about
really
it.
blame him.
I was like, he's only able to do amazing things because of the unamazing thing that he did.
Well, how about...
Correct.
Did
So
they,
True.
are they still counted as amazing? Are
Right,
they
so
still valid?
comparatively, it looks amazing
No,
to you
not
and I.
comparatively, but I'm saying, are they still valid? Because technically, he shouldn't be allowed to be doing those amazing things.
But obviously,
what
everyone
you're
has the
asking
chiyuv.
is basically, if you
Yes,
ever
but-
spoke Lashon Hara, then all the other good things you ever did shouldn't be considered good, because you're a really bad
No,
person for
because
speaking
there's
Lashon Hara.
3 cardinal sins. And
Lashon
We're
Lashon
saying,
Hara
and
is
he's saying,
bad.
right, we're saying, but let's assume, again, the point is like this. Obviously, there's tshuva associated with it. With the person does tshuva, but if you say
How
that
can you
this
do
is...
tshuva? You can't bring the guy back. You can't bring him back.
No, tshuva doesn't have to be about bringing a person back. You can do tshuva for what you've done. You can do tshuva for what you've done, but tshuva doesn't matter about bringing the other guy back. Again,
What's he going to do that's going to need tshuva?
Again, let's say it's not murder. The guy says, "I want you to bow down and serve this avodah zarah, or I'll kill you, or cut your arms off, whatever."
Okay,
The guy
but let's
says-
say it is murder.
Forget that. I'm leaving it aside because it's more difficult to understand because the realm of tshuva is more difficult to understand. But take something what we call simple.
You can't-
Avodah zarah. Avodah zarah. The guy says, "Okay, bow down to this idol because he is whatever," and you go, "Yeah, sure. I'd rather live my life than watch what you just did to this guy." Right? Who gets greater schar?
do they know that it's in a that it's like they're supposed to die instead of...
We're assuming we're taking all variables out of the equation and making it as simple as can be.
Okay,
Okay, you got the point, right? But Your Honor, I don't know if the guy was in his right mind at the time. Right, you understand exactly the scenario, right? You have the scenario. So that's what he says. So now, back over here. Ki hay'onam hadavar etlan, we're in that second set of lines that I underlined. It was a difficult nisayon, a very difficult nisayon. What was that? Ki al kain higdilu hayira. Their yira grew, ayidei hisbonus biras Hashem upachadu. They had to contemplate what it really means to have yiras Hashem, to recognize the value of the Aveira, meaning if they were to do it and how their lives would continue on. Neged hafsada hanora v'kadoma, compared to what they're going to lose. They lose their lives. Ulahagber atzman al kol koshim, and to strengthen themselves on all the difficulties they would potentially have to face for not listening to Paro. Uvizchus ma'isa hayira, in the merit of their yira, hu shekiblu scharan asher hitiv lehem elokim v'yasam batim. By that Hashem gave them in the merit of their yira, that He made batim for them. Right? We said that Rashi says it's bate kahuna, bate levia, Moshe and Aaron. That's what comes from it. So he's saying over here, what is really happening over here is the pasuk vatirna hamiyaldos is not simply that they feared God. Is that what they worked on during that time was, can I live my life this way, or do I see the fear of Hashem more important than anything else? And so the schar that they have is because of the yira, not necessarily because of the act. That's what he's going to explain this idea.
So it's like the process.
It's the process that's going to make the difference more than the act itself.
See? Like the learning of the Gemara.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, good job, Don.
No, but emes. Kizosi ikar hamitzvah. This is the mitzvah itself. Sheyira. What is the mitzvah of yira? Asher Nemar, the pasuk says, "As Hashem lekachatiri, you must fear Hashem, your God." Asher lechor kash levin. It's difficult for us to understand what that means. Eich ze yikayim bepoal zos hamitzvah. How can you fulfill it with this mitzvah in actuality, in practicality? How do you fulfill the mitzvah of fearing God? Halo yira himidas hanefesh. It's about the way it's your emotions. V'lo inyan shel pula, but it's not an actionable thing. The hamitzvos hasei shebatorah halo heim al hamaisim v'lo al hachachos. Right. So it's kochos. Right. Meaning a mitzvah hasei that's in the Torah is on an action. Do this particular mitzvah. And it's not on what's happening that's inside of you. It's not about your energy that's happening inside of you. You do a mitzvah. It's not about feeling. You can't do a mitzvah by simply having a feeling. But certainly all mitzvahs that are dependent on a person's heart, such as ahavas Hashem, dveikus b'Hashem, eich nimnu bein hatayag. How can they be counted amongst the 613? It's not based on your action. It's something I feel. Right? How many people they want to say, like, I'm spiritual, I feel God, I'm with God all the time. I'm spiritual.
I read the words.
I read the words, right? I feel the words. I don't have to read them. I feel them, right?
Well, okay. I was just like, right, okay.
So
I was like, okay. People, what do you want?
we're moving on.
Sorry.
Elavadai shekim ela hamitzvos heim al kinyasam osam. So how do you fulfill the mitzvah of loving Hashem, fearing Hashem, all of these types of mitzvahs? The way you fulfill them is the kinyan, the way you acquire them. Al hashtadlus liknos hakochos hanafishim behem. The way you fulfill these mitzvahs is by working deeply inside you of yourself to develop the koach that you actually have that midah. You're developing that strength of love, of fear of Hashem. That is how you fulfill the mitzvah of avas Hashem and yiras Hashem. Not necessarily in the action itself, but in the mindset that you have that you've worked on over these times. Okay? Rabbi Nachi Klein explains the following. We're in the bottom paragraph. Person has to prepare the depths of his heart at all times, and to contemplate regularly in his heart. You have to contemplate fear. Ema is awe and yira and fear from Hashem. The fact that Rabbi Nachi writes you're obligated to do it, minastam hu chiyuv d'oraisa, must mean that it's a biblical obligation to have this. What is that biblical obligation? To prepare the way you think, to think differently about your love of Hashem, your fear of Hashem, your awe of Hashem. This is what it means according to what we've explained. This is what the positive mitzvah is of Hashem, you must fear. What does it mean you have to fear Hashem? Tahainu al hishtadlus va'esek b'kniyas hamida. The way you acquire the midah of fear, that is how you actually fulfill the midah of it itself. So again, this is a famous thing that we say, like a person has emunah in Hashem. You know when you have emunah in Hashem? When you're being tested for emunah. That's when you have emunah in Hashem. Right? Because up until that point, the person's always doing what? It was like, no, of course I have emunah in Hashem. I believe Hashem is in charge of the world. And you always tell everybody else, you have to have emunah in Hashem, you have to have emunah in Hashem, until you get hit with that, that wound of massive emunah issues. Then you're really struggling. And really, that was all the efforts you put in beforehand.
Can I say something so beautiful?
Soon.
Okay, sure.
Hine. So he says, "V'kasav Shamot." Rabbeinu Yonah writes like this: "Val harasham nemar," and it says on Rasham in Pasuk in Yirmiyah, "V'lo amru b'libavam nira na'es Hashem Elokecha." They did not say in their hearts, "Let us have fear for Hashem." Why? Hine ki ein hatavia kan al Rasham. The complaint against the Rasham, the wicked people. The complaint is not that they don't have fear of God. They didn't try to develop a sense of yira. What is our obligation of fearing God? To try to fear God, to work on fear, to work on love, figuring out ways that you can develop that relationship. What does that mean? It means V'hamiyaldos, this is the key point. Asher zachu l'chol tov, the miyaldos, who were able to merit all these great things, ala mirasan v'achshavasam v'schar mitzvah v'hefsed avera, and the fact that they were able to contemplate the reward of the mitzvah versus that of the avera, hu shazachu, what is that zechus that they had? B'hachanasan kol ma'archei liban, by preparing the depths of their heart, liyiras Hashem hanorah. What was the mitzvah? That they worked so deeply on the concept of yira. That is where that actual mitzvah came from. And that, the person's going to have that tremendous schar. So again, to recap what he's trying to say over here, or at least my understanding, is it's not that they feared God, that's why they didn't do it. The Torah is telling you is that they worked so deeply on their fear, that that's why they were able to withstand that nisayim. The nisayim came and they proved it because up until that point, they were working on the fear that they actually had for Hashem. So he says that's really what the Torah is telling us over here, and that means for us, if you're working on Ava, Yira, and the like, it means it's not when you're not going to do the mitzvah because or the Avera because of this. It just means like how much effort you're putting in ahead of time that's going to get you to that place. So should you be faced with that nisan, it's much easier for you to do because that's the schar. The schar is everything that led up to it, not the moment itself. Now, your story.